You know, we're headed to South Central Missouri to one of my good friend Donald Thomspon's farm.
It's show me time on Winchester's Whitetail Revolution.
A good buck. There's a buck on that brush line right there.
Host Allen Treadwell, this is kind of a homecoming.
That's one of the biggest scrapes you'll ever see right there. Another trail right there, so they all come together right here.
Here he comes chasing that doe.
And it's home where the deer play.
He's right there behind her facing us. He's not gonna stop. Buck right there, coming over the top of the hill. We really don't have much cover here.
You know, we're headed to South Central Missouri to one of my good friend Donald Thomspon's farm. I love coming to Don's place. I love coming up and seeing the kids and his wife. And I'm so thankful to Don and his family for all the hard work they put on this place and for inviting me up every year to come and enjoy a little bit of piece of their heaven here in southern Missouri. Just almost like coming home. I spent so much time with Don. It's one of my favorite places to hunt in the entire world. I love the scouting aspect of the deal. This is the place that I get to do that. One thing about hunting Missouri in the rifle season is year in and year out, you can expect some form of the rut to be going on, whether it's the peak of the rut, whether it's pre-rut, you know, lockdown period, whatever, you know, some phase of the rut is going to be going on during rifle season in Missouri.
Well, I grew up hunting in Missouri, so my experiences in Missouri are great. Missouri has great potential for trophy whitetails. It's a sleeper state, probably coming on here in the last few years. People are starting to manage better for whitetails. The drawback to Missouri is their gun season opens the second week of November, so the rut is in full swing.
South Central Missouri. The place of Missouri's whitetails is well established in the records book. From the state has come the typical buck that ranks number 3 and the all-time number 1 non-typical head. So the potential is certainly there on the Square T Ranch near Springfield, owned by Treadwell's longtime friend, Donald Thomspon.
We actually filmed a show here last year for Winchester Whitetail Revolutions and was able to take a good 4.5-year-old buck out of the herd. So that's kind of what we're going to be looking for this year is some mature buck, 4.5, 5.5 years old.
Back at old Square T Farms.
I love seeing that gate. There's Don right there. He looks like he's getting his hunting stuff together.
I was explaining to Allen that coming out here and having him here is an absolute pleasure. I've told him that to consider this place his home, to come out here whenever he wants to. He doesn't need an invitation.
And I no more than got out of the truck and Don was ready to get out and do a little bit of scouting.
Hey, Allen!
Hey Don, what's going on, man?
Oh man, just getting ready.
Getting some fun stuff together?
Getting ready, getting excited, man, getting fired up.
I am too, I am. It should be prime time.
I was out this morning, saw a lot of deer moving, a lot of chasing action going on. I think it's going to be fantastic.
You've been seeing some good trail camera pictures, some good bucks?
I have some great bucks this year. The bucks that we had on camera last year are just one more year older and 1 year bigger. Hopefully we'll be able to catch up with one of them.
Sounds good to me, man. Well, let's get my stuff unloaded and go do a little scout and check some trail cameras. What do you say?
Sounds like a great plan. Let's do it, man.
Good to see you, man. Glad to be back. Don informed me that it's been a couple of weeks since he's pulled the cards out of his cameras and he had a new toy that he wanted to show me. He had a brand new electric vehicle, new Ranger EV. So we hopped in it and took off and to do a little bit of scouting and pull some trail camera photos and see if we can see something that really trips our trigger and interests enough to go hunting in that area.
The plan for this evening is we're going to use this old fence line right here and try to slip down through here and watch some of these open areas, watch some of these food plots. There's some deer out there in the field right now. There's movement down there in that fence line. It's a buck. It's a good buck.
Winchester's Whitetail Revolution is brought to you by Winchester Ammunition, the American legend. Code Blue, perfecting the science of hunting. Winchester Repeating Arms, the guns that work. Redfield, the soul of the American hunter. And by Browning, the best there is. South Central Missouri and the opening of rifle season on Winchester's Whitetail Revolution.
You know, whenever I start a hunt, I always use a general rule of thumb. When you're coming into an area and you don't really know what the deer activity is doing, what stage of the rut you're in, always try to start on the outskirts and then work your way into the middle. And that's exactly what we did the first evening out. I knew if we got into the big woods and was tramping around in there through all the leaves on the ground as dry as it was, we're going to be making a lot of noise, and there was a good chance we were going to bust a deer. You know, so try to start on the outsides of a property and then work your way in as the hunt progresses to give you the best chance of success.
My strategy never changes, whether I'm hunting in Saskatchewan or whether I'm hunting in South America for the little deer. It always starts the same way. Start the glass, what are they feeding on, what time of year is it rut, is it after the rut, is it feeding time? And once you go that, then you can go in there with a strategy of taking a deer no matter what state you're hunting.
The plan for this evening is we're going to use this old fence line right here and try to slip down through here and watch some of these open areas, watch some of these food plots. And we're just going to slip along this thing real slow, going from tree to tree. At the other end of this old fence line right here, there's a big turnip field. I'm going to try to get up to it and hunker down and hopefully see a few deer. There's some deer out there in the field right now.
You know, it comes to a point where you get as far as you can go slipping, and you get to a point where you need to set and see what's going to happen.
There's a couple of does out in this field right now. Let's hunker down for a second and see what happens. I mean, I gotta believe in the middle of November, it's only going to be a matter of time before a buck comes out to check these does out.
Sure as the world, you know. First thing, here comes a little bitty buck come out. He was a real nice, probably a 1.5-year-old deer. Little short tines. It's going to be super exciting to see what he turns into in a couple of years.
It's a good rack for a young buck. There's movement down there on that fence line. It's a buck. It's a good buck. Big 8. You know, I'm tempted to shoot that buck, but you put another year on him and he was able to explode into a giant.
Being that early on in the hunt, I really wanted to watch him.
He's cruising for does.
And it was neat to see him out there, see the rut activity going on, know that we're here at the right time. That evening we just elected to watch that buck, and I'll tell you what, a big beautiful wide 8-point like that, it's pretty tough to let one go.
Several years ago, we started putting out trail cameras on my property, and I was a bit skeptical at first. However, through the years, we've gotten better at getting camera pictures and being able to really identify the deer that we have on the property.
There's a group of deer that we watch all year long from the time that they start growing their antlers until the middle of October through bow season. And we got in there and got a couple of cards and come back and sit down in front of the computer, see if we could see some deer moving around, see if there was a deer in one area or not that we really wanted to target.
I've got a little spot set back here in the woods where we planted a food plot earlier this year. There's just a ton of deer traffic in it, and I think it's worth sitting tonight.
You know, I'm no different than any other hunter. When I think of the Midwest, I think of big ag fields, soybeans and corn and wheat. Think about that in Missouri and Iowa and Illinois, but our part of the state, we don't have that. We don't have the ground to sustain those big ag fields.
What I've done is everything that I can to improve the quality of the forage that's available here. When you compare the deer that are killed on my farm versus the neighboring farms that don't have the agriculture and don't have the food plots, there is a tremendous difference in the body size and the antler quality that you see.
Agriculture and acreage equals big antlers. But big land isn't always essential. David Morris addresses small land management for large returns on this Tecumseh Trophy Tip.
Hi, I'm David Morris, and today I want to talk to you about turning your small tract of land into a buck magnet. And one of the best ways to do that is through year-round food plots. And when you do that, you actually create for yourself a little wildlife paradise. These deer are going to be here because that's where the food is. And wherever the deer are, the does are, the bucks are going to be there. And when the rut comes in, those bucks are going to be on your place. Even though you don't have a lot of acreage, it'll be better than you ever thought possible, and it could be the place that you take your next trophy buck.
To continue this and other conversations with David, go to Tecumseh.com.
There's a buck right there. Big, tall, wide 8-pointer. That is a stud of a 3.5-year-old right there. That's a good deer. There's another buck coming out down there in the same area. There are a couple of stud young deer using this field. Okay, here he comes looking right at us.
You know, I'm thinking again, this buck's probably 4.5 years old, really similar to the buck that we passed the first evening.
I don't believe he's one we want, but he is going to be a stud in a couple of years.
And it felt good to be in there in that timbered food plot and see that kind of activity. Once again, early on in the hunt, you know, I liked to pass him and we just kind of enjoyed the show.
Buck right there, coming over the top of the hill. That's a heck of a buck right there. He's got good timing, good mass. He's gonna have to come this way if I'm ever gonna get a shot.
Initially, when we purchased this farm, it was over-hunted. There was almost no management for wildlife whatsoever.
There's getting close to 30 mature deer on this property that this place is holding year in and year out. And that's just a tribute to Don's management program, where he's letting young bucks walk, where he's killing good mature deer.
What I've been able to do on my place really can be done on any property across the United States that has deer. I believe in the principles of responsible deer harvest, managing your total deer numbers to well within the habitat or what the habitat will support. I also believe in allowing younger bucks to grow up. It's not unusual on my property to see a field that it contains anywhere from a 1.5-year-old buck to a 5.5-year-old buck, and every range in between.
Missouri is trying to do things to make trophy whitetails more prevalent, and that's they're starting an antler restriction program that they've had in for 3 or 4 years. I think it's starting to work. Statewide, they're starting to get more trophy whitetails in. I grew up hunting whitetails in Missouri. No better state for numbers of whitetails and a fast-growing state for trophy whitetails.
There's a couple of does coming out of the corner right there.
The first 2 days, we've passed up a lot of good deer. We've seen a lot of activity. So stuff was starting to get tight, and I was ready to find a good mature buck to call my own. And that third morning, I went to an area that I was real familiar with, an area Don and I had talked about where we thought we'd see a lot of good activity. It was up on top, and there was a lot of hay bales, and I knew that I could use those hay bales to my advantage. Whether I was sitting beside one or using it to slip from hay bale to hay bale to make a move on a deer. Don and I talked about the area and looked at trail cam pictures that he'd got from that area, and I knew there was a lot of good bucks, you know, using it there.
There's some deer right there. Doing a fawn right there. Let's watch them and see what they do. If I slow down these hay bales any further. It's kind of odd middle of November to have a doe and a fawn still together. Usually the fawns have ran off by now. All right, there they go. I'm gonna slip on down these hay bales. We haven't been at it long this morning, and every deer that I've seen has crossed that knoll and back into that thick stuff. We've seen several in a short period of time. I'm going to slip up a little bit closer where we can get a little better look and hunker down by one of these hay bales, because I think it's just a matter of time for a buck comes through there after one of them does. There's been too many does already. I'm gonna chill out for a while and watch. There's a big brushy field up here. They're up there at the top of that hill where those 2 hay bales and that big tree. It's still gonna be a pile careful on this guy. 257 to that big tree on top. You couldn't see a deer good enough to shoot one further than that anyways. So 170 will make that shot, I guarantee it. Buck right there, coming over the top of the hill. He's way up there on top. Good buck. Following that doe. He's back and forth up there in that thick stuff. He's gonna have to come this way if I'm ever gonna get a shot. Here they come back over the hill. That doe's coming this way. Here comes the doe. The doe's coming our way. All right, he's not gonna stop before he gets that timber.
South Central Missouri, and the signs are right.
Here he comes.
Winchester's Whitetail Revolution is brought to you by Winchester Ammunition, the American legend. Code Blue, perfecting the science of hunting. Winchester Repeating Arms, the guns that work. Redfield, the soul of the American hunter. And by Browning, the best there is.
He's way up there on top. That's a heck of a buck right there. He's got good timing, good mass. He's gonna have to come this way if I'm ever gonna get a shot. He's gonna have to get to that opening.
You know, there wasn't a lot of heavy chasing activity going, but he knew she was close. You know, he was more or less just kind of tending her, walking with her.
Here comes the doe. The doe's coming our way. He's not gonna work back this way. All right, there's that doe. He's right there behind her facing us. He's gonna follow her. All right, he's not gonna stop before he gets that timber. Here he comes. He's hit good. I didn't see him go down. Hit a big mule kick. I don't know, I'm gonna give that deer a little bit. I'm gonna call Don. I get nervous when I don't see him go down. I know for a fact he did the big mule kick and he had that tail tucked when he was going over there. You gotta play that back in my head. I mean, I feel pretty good about it. He did the big mule kick, had that tail tucked. If I could just see him go down, I'd be over there right now, but when in doubt, back out. Sit down here. Mission accomplished, I hope, if we find him. Man, what a great hunt.
And I sat there beside that bale of hay for 2 hours waiting on Don to get up there. I'm chewing my fingernails. You know, it's the longest 2 hours of a hunter's life whenever they don't know for sure if the deer's down or not. This is the worst part of being a hunter right here. We shot that buck this morning. It's been about 2 hours ago now. And just waiting on my buddy Don to come back and help me track it. You know, that's the thing. You shoot a big buck like this, you don't want to go in there by yourself. You want somebody to experience it with you. And being here on Don's place, I know he'd be just as excited to track it as I would.
Hey, Allen.
What's up, buddy?
Hey, I heard you shoot. What'd you get?
I don't know for sure.
Really?
He's pretty good. He's an old, mature buck. He's at least a big 8. He could be a 9. I'm not sure. You know, real tall, but pretty massive. He's a definite shooter. That's all I knew.
Nice, nice. Was he one of the ones we got on camera?
I'm sure he is, but to be real honest with you, I don't really know for sure which one he is. You know, I mean, he's a good deer.
Let's go put our hands on him.
Let's go see if we can find him.
All righty.
I had a good mark on this deer. I knew exactly where I'd shot him. He left right from behind that tree and headed right towards that little brushy corner right there. We went straight to that mark where I'd shot him and started looking around for blood.
It's gonna be hard to see blood in this green grass.
It's hard to find blood in a fescue field, even if there's a little bit of leaves out there.
You come out of this trail right there, I know.
Okay.
And then come right down through here. Well, I can't believe we can't find no blood.
We were not able to find much blood at all. When you're in a situation like that, your heart goes from just absolutely racing to sinking, because you know either you're dealing with one of two things. Either you've missed a great buck or you've got a buck that's been injured and you can't seem to find him.
But I knew if I could get to the timber edge where it was solid leaves, we should be able to find blood. And we're walking down through there and Don sees a deer take off running.
There's a deer. There's a deer walking right there.
I'm going in my head, oh no, you know, he's got up, that's him, he's taking off.
There's a deer walking right there.
Running there, walking.
There's a buck laying right there. There's a buck laying right there. There he is.
Holy smokes, Don.
Oh, Allen.
Look at that big old mature 8.
That is a beautiful buck.
Don, I'm telling you right now, for southern Missouri, acre and fed bucks and all the managing you do, it don't get no better than that.
It
right
gets
there.
no better than this, Alan. This is that same buck that I showed you the pictures of last night. I have pictures of him in velvet. He's the one I had on my screensaver.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. That was one of the deer that was on the hit list. That was one of the deer that has grown up on my property that we've gotten a lot of trail camera pictures of. That right there is a testament to management and management alone.
It's not a personal accomplishment to shoot this deer, it's a team effort, and Don's part of that team, and to be able to share the recovery with Don was something that was real important to me, so I was glad he was able to get there and be there with me whenever we got to that buck. It's not a personal award to shoot this deer, it's a team award, you know. This deer's gonna stay on this farm. He's gonna be mounted up here. He's gonna stay in the farmhouse where he belongs. He was raised here. Hunting with Don and his family is just the highlight of my year, and I love every moment that I get to spend with these guys.